You're listening to the Trade Show Insights Podcast, Season 18, Episode 1. I'm your host and exhibit marketing strategist, Marlis Arnold, bringing you tools to improve your exhibit results. On today's episode, brought to you by the Exhibit Marketers Cafe, we're going behind the scenes of one of the case studies featured in the new edition of Build a Better Trade Show Image so you can hear the full story of an integrated marketing strategy. Well, I am so excited about today's guest. I first heard the story about what Canon Medical is doing and how it's it's what I always tell exhibitors. It's putting all the pieces together and bringing a strategy together and not just, piecemealing it out. But I want to introduce our guest real quick, and then we'll just jump into the conversation. Debbie Kemp is the Senior Manager of Experience Marketing for Canon Medical Systems. And Debbie has an international award-winning background in trade shows and events. From healthcare to Silicon Valley, it's been a journey across the globe. In her current role at Canon Medical Systems, Debbie oversees trade shows, events, road shows, intimate affairs, all kinds of events for Canon. And she brings a new creative directive every time she turns the corner, and there's never a dull moment in Debbie's camp. She currently resides in Southern California with her husband and dog, Milo. Debbie, welcome to Trade Show Insights.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, like I said, I am so excited to share the story of what Canon Medical is doing, because you really are bringing all the pieces together and having a cohesive strategy, which is what I always tell exhibitors to do, is don't look at trade shows as just one thing out there by itself. It needs to be a part of all of your marketing and putting it all together. So let's start out, first of all, with, I know for RSNA, or for those who aren't familiar, the Radiological Society of North America, for the show this year, you did something very different. So tell us a little bit about your exhibit at RSNA and how you made it different and more experiential this year.
Yeah, so RSNA is a really big show in North America. It's the largest medical show in all of North America. In past, it's had up to 85,000 people. So it's quite a large attendance. This year, just kind of second year coming out of the pandemic, there was roughly about just under 40,000 people. So that was still quite a lot of people. They're still working their way. Trade shows are, as you know, on their way back. But we knew that going back in this year, it was still going to be a struggle with labor in Chicago. We did some research with the labor in Chicago and what type of labor was coming back. I think everybody's feeling that struggle of that pain. And I knew that we would struggle to get the quality of labor that we wanted, or the people to even show up on the booth to build parts of the booth. So I took everything out of the air, which we typically fly a lot of stuff in the air. And for those of you who do trade shows and fly truss, lighting, signage, everything in the air, I knew that that was where they were really short on people. So my vision was to really pull it out of the air and put it all on the ground. And so in doing so, we wanted to create something that was at eye level, but really eye candy. We know that when people walk by a booth, that they only have 3 to 4 seconds to really grasp whether or not they want to go into the booth or not go into the booth.
Exactly.
I think you know that from trade show experience. You know that when somebody walks by, are they intrigued enough to walk by, or is it just going to be a straight wall with a graphic on it? And I never want to do that, ever. And as a trade show manager, you never want to just do a graphic on a wall. You're never going to attract somebody. So I wanted to build Vegas, basically, on the floor in Chicago, basically. And so we built a tunnel, and we built a LED tunnel on curved panels. And I knew that by building a tunnel, it was going to be excitement enough with movement on the LED panels to draw the customers in subliminally with whatever we put on the panel.
Well, you
So
literally were building a path through the booth. You were
yeah,
guiding people through your exhibit.
absolutely. And so subliminally, people in their minds, when they walk by, think, hey, that's kind of cool. And it pulled them in without them even knowing it.
Mm-hmm.
So we were gathering people, and we were right at the front of the hall, lucky enough that we managed to get that spot. And we just pulled everybody in, and then they ended up right into the middle center of the booth, and they were captured. There was nowhere else to go. So it worked out really well in the end.
So tell me a little bit more about how you crafted the tunnel. What was in the tunnel? What was it like? What was it that was drawing people in?
So the goal was to really pull people in, like you said, and then once they got into the tunnel, the movement kept them intrigued enough. So it wasn't always the same panel going and appearing and then disappearing. And then they were engaged to work within a interactive tool that talked to them about new products in our booth. And because the area was so innovative and dynamic, it was the suitable place to put innovative new, what's happening in Canon Medical. So every business unit had an area within the tunnel that they could talk to the customer on any topic that was being talked
Mm-hmm.
about throughout the entire booth, but only on the new. So when you got into the tunnel, which is naturally where everybody was drawn to, then they would be able to talk to all of our salespeople, because that ideally was their job. Is once we got them into the booth, then they would be able to talk to the customer and capture them and talk to them about all the new technology. And so really the goal of the tunnel was really to pull them into the booth, talk about what's new, and then take them into the other ancillary areas throughout the booth so that they can talk about drill down deep further talk.
More in depth.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So you actually, the other thing I like is you incorporated virtual elements into your exhibit as well, because a lot of exhibitors are too scared to delve into the virtual side of things. Tell us how you incorporated that and really blended it all together really seamlessly.
Yeah. So, every trade show now after the pandemic is going to have a virtual element, and you
Hmm.
never want to miss it. So, I reiterate this constantly and tell people, even if it's just a page that people can go to, if they're not going to come to the show, a small percentage are always going to come virtually because travel is so expensive now. So
Right.
we knew that customers were not going to be able to all get there, but sometimes what happens is they can send one candidate from their hospital or from their organization. So we hooked up with various customers who were not able to come in our conference room, and we live streamed. We were able to live stream to our academy where we could demo the product. And if they couldn't even do the live streaming, we were able to drive them to a page that we had set up that sort of sat side by side our booth. And you could actually visit various areas throughout the booth. So if you couldn't come to the booth, you could actually see the product online and you could visit that. Or if you couldn't do that, then you could actually sit in a meeting or a conference room or in front of a computer and get a live stream of a demonstration of our product, because we didn't bring big product this year. We chose not to do that.
That was the other thing I thought was really interesting is you weren't showing off the actual product. You were
Yeah.
demonstrating it in different kinds of ways.
Yeah. So every trade show manager dreads their bill at the end of the show, and they
Oh
get
yeah.
drayage and drayage. And you're like, you want to cry when you see the drayage bill. You think, really? It's like $500,000 to move all of that equipment to my booth? I mean, that's a big booth. Okay. So,
Yeah.
but even if you have a
But
small
anytime you're
booth,
dealing with big equipment, even if you've
yeah.
just got one piece of big equipment, it's expensive.
Yeah, exactly. So you really try and manage that. And in the new age of buttonology, you're like, if you think of Carvana, you don't go to a car lot to buy your car, do you?
Mm.
So you sort of get a demonstration online, you read about it, and then you get the car delivered, right? So a car is just as expensive as an X-ray piece of equipment sometimes. So we went with that methodology, and we said, okay, well, wait a minute. So we'll talk to you as much as we can. We'll drill it down, and we can give you a sample even virtually online of what it's going to feel like and look like. It saved us thousands of dollars on drayage and space on the booth. And so
Mhm.
we were able to reach our customers still with the product, but just not in person. And they was very accepted on the booth this year. Very, very widely accepted.
Well, and on the flip side of that, you didn't necessarily have everybody and their brother there in your staff.
Yeah.
You had people virtually on the staffing side too. Talk a little bit about that.
Correct. Yeah. So at our academy, where we do some training, we do online training, we do in-person training, hands-on training, and we do it virtually as well. We had staff there, and we had a small camera crew there. So when a customer came onto the booth and they wanted a demonstration of a PET CT scanner, we were able to queue up the camera in Irvine or in Florida and say, hey, can we get a demonstration? And boom, it was right there on the screen for them.
I love it.
So we didn't have to worry about shipping equipment, all those trucks and all that drayage and all that electric and everything else. And we contained all of those costs and kept it in-house.
I love it. I love it. And that's so smart because it's true. The trade show is a great place. The show floor is a great place to meet people face to face, but you don't have to have everybody and everything in your space. And I think too many times exhibitors think they got to cram everything possible in that space. And you did it in a very creative way. Well, let's shift gears, literally, and talk about your roadshow.
Oh, my
Because
roadshow.
I think this is so fantastic. I mean, in the book, Build a Better Trade Show Image, we have a whole chapter on road shows because that is something that, again, can be easily worked into the trade show strategy. So talk about how you blended the two. What was the roadshow all about? And then how you blended the two aspects together.
Oh, well, the roadshow is my baby. I mean, I absolutely love it. And for 8 years, I pitched it, and finally, after
Wow.
coming out of COVID, they finally caught on to it and said, "Okay, that's a great idea, but we're tired of listening to you. Just go do it." But we did it, and my thought is that people were coming out of COVID. Everybody lost their budgets, everybody lost their staff. There was everybody short staffed, and then we work in the hospital environment, so hospitals were really short staffed, and they could not get on a plane. They lost all their trade show money to visit trade shows for education. So virtual played a big part in a lot of the hospital worlds.
True.
And I knew that the mobile truck would be a great feeling for them to get out into their hospital. So we built a truck, kitted it out as a trade show. So it wasn't one single business unit. It was all of our products. And you could visit all of our products. It had a little pop out, just like an RV, when you get a big mobile home and it popped out. We set it up. We would pull into the parking lot of the hospital and we would invite anybody who was in the hospital to come out and visit the product. We staffed it with our own people, and they could come and they could visit the product and see everything that was new and happening that they would typically see at a trade show. But instead, they saw it in their parking lot, spent 45 minutes with us, and then went back in the hospital. So on average, we pulled about 100 people per stop, just under 100 people per stop. And we got through to people that normally wouldn't even go to a trade show, that get hands-on with the product. And those people are the ones that will eventually be the director of the hospital, that will make decisions. And it just proved fantastic for us.
Well, and there's so many parts of this that I love. First of all, you outsourced the selection of the sites. You made it a crowdsourcing activity. Tell us a little bit about that.
Absolutely. We made it a competition internally with our staff, our salespeople, because our salespeople know their customers the best, and they know who is more welcoming to let us come onto the campus and let us drive a big 18-wheeler into their parking lot at the front of the hospital, right?
Doesn't work everywhere.
Yeah, no. So we made it a competition amongst our people, and we said, nominate your staff, nominate your hospital is what we said. And they nominated their hospitals. We then went through all of the hospitals that we knew we wanted to get into. So there were several hospitals that we had never, they wouldn't even let us in the door, but they were willing to have the 18-wheeler pull up. So we said, okay, great. So we pulled into certain hospitals that we had never even been welcomed to come into. And it opened up doors that we didn't even know existed. So it sort of lit a fire, and it reimagined a new way of doing trade shows. You put it all on a truck, you pull into the hospital, or you pull into your location. It doesn't, I mean, I work in the hospital environments, but you pull into your location. All those people can't come to trade shows. So you're going to get a lot more visibility by pulling in there and visiting and talking to those people. encouraged all of our staff, anybody, to nominate any hospital, any institution that they wanted. And we didn't just go to hospitals, we went to hotels. If there were 4 hospitals in the area or imaging centers in the area, we would then be able to gather various people from all the various locations in
Smart.
that as one central location. And we fed everybody lunch. They stayed on the trailer for 45 minutes to an hour. On one stop, we had somebody stay on for 2 hours.
Oh, wow.
And we were able to live stream in our CEOs, our presidents, people who couldn't make that stop, so that we could then have our customers, our chief of radiology, or directors, all talk to our directors, via streaming in a conference room that was there as well. And it was very comfortable. It was air conditioned. It has its own power. It was very self-contained, and it worked out great.
Well, and you also had kind of a viral element that you used at the hotel as well to help the people who came through spread the word, right?
In what situations?
Well, you had talked about the QR codes that you used.
Oh, right, yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, the QR codes were really popular. So I wanted everybody to feel special when they came on the trailer. So they would check in, and then we would give them like a backstage pass VIP.
I love it.
And it was really cool. And so we would put their name on it, VIP, and they would go into the trailer, but it had a QR code on the back. So I never wanted people to forget about the trailer visit. And sometimes when we leave something, we forget about it after a few minutes. So when they would walk back into the hospital, they would have this lanyard with this VIP badge, and they go, "Hey, where did you get that?" And then they would say, at the Canon trailer, and the QR code on the back would then take them to inside the trailer, so they could then see a picture of inside the trailer once they went back in the hospital. So it never really left them. It followed them wherever they went.
That's awesome. That is such a creative way to do it. It gives it that extra level of kind of, you said, like the whole exclusivity or feeling special, that like not everybody got the opportunity to go through that trailer.
Yeah.
So it was,
and I wanted everybody to think, "Hey, I'm with the band." Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, we very much felt like that. Everybody was like kind of excited about it. So it worked out really well.
And I want to just share too, we will actually have in the show notes, we'll have links so that people can go check out some photos and videos of the road show as well, and see what you were doing. And you're going to be doing it again in 23, right?
Absolutely. We're having twins.
Oh, twins.
Yeah, we're having twins. We're doing it on East and West Coast because we want to reach all those people that we didn't get to reach in 2022.
Yeah.
I can't believe we're 2023 now.
I know.
But we want to be able to reach those customers and find other avenues as well to visit. So we are looking at all different areas. It was very successful, and we've had a lot of demand from people to request that we visit their hospital. So we have our website. So if you go to our website, you'll be able to request a visit from our mobile trailer. So East and West Coast, I figure I can cover both. Right?
Yeah, because I looked at the map, you guys were literally all over, and you backtracked some, and it covered, I think it said 13,000 miles you covered.
Yeah, we covered a lot. So we went all the way down from Southern California all the way up to Connecticut. So
wow.
we went just about everywhere.
Well, and then tying it all together, what was the last stop on the road show?
So the last stop, we pulled it into RSNA. And we went, so everybody followed me on LinkedIn and my messages and my posts, and could to see the pictures of every stop, and the excitement was building. So a lot of people said, "Are you coming to RSNA?" And of course, yes, we came to RSNA. So when people saw the truck at RSNA, they came in board and said, "I was there," and they saw their picture on the movies that we had sprayed around everywhere. And it was an Applied Radiology. They had ran a spread on it as well. And they did some interviews with people. So it worked out really well. And people were really excited that they got to say, "Hey, I was on the truck and it's at RSNA." So it proved out really well. So people got to visit it and see the truck. So it was really cool at RSNA.
It was like a reunion for those who had already seen it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we actually garnered more credibility, but we also got a lot of people interested enough so that they've requested that it comes to their association show, which was perfect. Yeah.
Wow.
So, we had a couple associations come on board and say, "Have you thought about bringing it to our association annual meeting?" And we're like, "Yeah, well, I'm on board. Yeah. As long as I can fit it into the exhibit hall. Sure.
That is so cool. That probably wasn't something you had thought about originally.
No, we hadn't, because we had scaled back our trade show presence due to the pandemic and COVID, and we put a lot of our, you know, faith in the trailer visiting around everywhere. And
Mm-hmm.
so when that came up, I thought, it's a great opportunity to meet that middle ground, to do trade shows and to get the trailer out there. And so it was the perfect opportunity. So it worked out really well.
That's great. Well, and there's so many other aspects too. I mean, you did promotion both for RSNA and for the roadshow, and you, like you mentioned, you did a lot of social media promotion and ways to build build the buzz as you went along.
Mm-hmm.
But you had strategic measurements that you did. So tell us just real quick, what were some of the ways that you measured the success of the roadshow?
So, part of my goal was to get out to people that we hadn't seen before, and to make sure that we got in front of people. So, I set a goal that we would hit at least 25 stops across America. 25 is ambitious if you think
Yeah.
about it. I mean, there's only 50 states in America.
And
So,
how long was the tour? How many months?
we started in March and we finished, the last stop was in October. So we hit 50 stops in the
Oh,
end,
wow.
because it kept coming through to do more and more and more. So my goal really when we first started was to hit, I figured we could get 50 people per stop, and we could get increase our web traffic by 25%, if not 25 and 35%. And I wanted to be able to get about 50 people, 25 stops, and increase web traffic. And in the end, I doubled everything. I doubled absolutely everything. And,
Wow.
we had over 50% traffic, website traffic increased. Our social media went off the charts. We're trying to frantically type and keep everything up to date, because every week was 2 stops. So you were driving. We had karaoke carpool in the car when we would drive from stop to stop. I wish
Oh,
I
too
could video
funny.
that. That would be so much fun. So there were a bunch of us that we would drive from stop to stop. So the camaraderie, we just built a great team, and it got so much fun. So that when customers would come on, everybody was laughing. I mean, in Tupelo, we had Elvis playing on the music system. It was great.
Well, and you had that energy internally with your team, and so that just spilled over when the clients came
Yeah.
through. They could
Yeah.
feel the enthusiasm and the energy that you guys were
Yeah.
experiencing.
We had a
So,
lot of customers tell us that they had never seen anything like this roll up to their hospital before,
oh, I'm
which
sure.
which told me, well, there's a demand for this, right? There is
Mhm.
such a demand for this, because these poor people have been come through the pandemic. They've worked their hearts out, and they can't even go to a trade show now to have some fun.
Yeah. Well, and like you said, a lot of those people probably never go to the trade shows anyway, because
Yeah.
their hospital may only have budget to send 5 people, and there's
Mm,
25 people,
yeah.
actually working in the department or whatever. So
Yeah.
it really does, it shows that you care about not just the executive level who are coming to the trade shows, but you care about everybody in the department who's working with that equipment and needs to learn and explore and
Absolutely.
discover new things. So
Yeah.
I think it was just, like I said, it was just such a genius plan that you had. You used the road show not in replacement of a trade show, but in conjunction with and to augment the whole trade show experience. Like you said, you basically put the exhibit on a trailer and took it across the country. So
Absolutely. Yeah.
it was just such a great plan, and I thought this was just, a wonderful story to tell, not only on trade show insights, but also to include in the book as an example of everybody, bringing it all together into a cohesive strategy. So Debbie, thank you so much for being a part of not only trade show insights, but also being an example in Build a Better Trade Show Image. So
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure to be here.
this is so great. Well, best of luck to you as you start up the truck or the twins
Yeah.
for 2023.
Yeah. Thanks. We're looking forward to it.
If you enjoyed today's episode and would like more, you can subscribe to the podcast and automatically receive future episodes on your chosen device. Simply search for Trade Show Insights in Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, or virtually anywhere else that podcasts are found, then click the subscribe button. Trade Show Insights is protected by the Creative Commons copyright license. You may feel free to share this recording with colleagues or embed it on your own blog as long as it's shared in its entirety and is not used for commercial purposes. To learn more, please see the link in the sidebar of the show notes at tradeshowinsights.com. Well, that's it for this episode of Trade Show Insights. Be sure to check out our show notes and archives at tradeshowinsights.com. You can also connect with me using the social media links or the contact page on the site. I'm Marlis Arnold. Thanks for listening, and be sure to join us next time for more tools to improve your exhibit results.